How to introduce a speaker at an event. I'm going to share with you right now the best ways that you can introduce somebody to stage, as well as some that you shouldn't do. Why do I know how to do this? Because I am an MC, a corporate host, a keynote speaker, and an entertainer. My name's Jason Hewlett. Thanks for joining me. So have you ever been asked to introduce a speaker or to be an MC? Most people are terrible at this, like in a tragic way. And so I'm going to give you 10 tips as to how to become great at it. I'm also going to share a few times where I failed at this, such as the time I introduced a couple of speakers from Shark Tank and I totally failed. And I have one huge secret that will forever endear you to the speaker you're introducing if you'll do it right. So number one, you need to ask the speaker if they have an introduction they prefer that you read word for word for them. A lot of speakers have something like this and they just hand it to you before they come on stage. It's important that you read through the words. Ask them how they pronounce their name. Maybe there's something you don't understand the way it's written. Ask the speaker. It's okay. But a lot of speakers have it pre-written. Make sure you get that from them because they really want you to say it that way. Number two would be to read their bio. If you know more about the speaker than is being shared in the introduction, you can then ask the speaker and say, hey, I read this in your bio. Are you cool if I share this in the introduction? Sometimes they'll say, oh man, don't share that. That's my whole story. You'll give it away. There's a reason I didn't put it in the introduction I gave you from step number one. But for step number two, like I say, if you read their bio and you find something in there you want to share, confirm with the speaker you can share it and they might go, ooh, I like you. Thanks for checking that out. Share it, please. So number three is to ask the speaker at least 30 minutes prior to their speech if it's okay how you're going to introduce them. The problem is that a lot of MCs show up last minute asking the speaker while the speaker is getting in the zone. You don't want to bug a speaker before they go on stage. You want to give them as much space as possible, so talk to them about 30 minutes early if you possibly can, or at least enough time so that they can get in the zone. You're not bothering them other than a pat on the back, I'm going on stage and I'm going to introduce you. That's all you need to say. But you want to give them 30 minutes prior, ask what you can say. If the intro works, if the bio works that you put in some pieces, then that speaker will very much respect you and appreciate your sympathy, your empathy that they're about to go on stage. So number four is where I reveal what I told you in the beginning, where I said, I have one huge secret that will endear you to the speaker forever if you do this. So I told you that you need to read their bio. Well, imagine you read the intro they gave you, but it talks nothing about the book they just wrote. Maybe the introduction is old. Maybe the speaker forgot to put it in. But if you walk up to that speaker and say, hey, I read in your bio that you wrote a book. Is it okay if I mention that book on stage? The speaker will love you forever. They will be like, my man, thank you. I would love for you to talk about my book. Then you just say, hey, where can people get it? They'll give you their website or they'll tell you Amazon, and you will be their favorite MC they've ever had. Number five, do your best to read the words correctly in the introduction. This might sound obvious, but it's not. In my introduction, I have one part that talks about a viral post that I created on Facebook that went viral to at least 100 million people many years ago. It was an exciting moment for me. But I've had many times where an introducer or an MC would stand up on stage and they would literally read it and say, his viral post as seen by 1 million people. And everyone in the audience goes, 1 million. It's so pathetic. Because what's a million hits nowadays? It's just not that many. I'm sitting backstage like, it's 100 million, man. Don't read the words wrong, especially when you're the MC. And so before I reveal the rest of these tips to becoming a great MC and introducing people to the stage, if you would, I'd love for you to engage with me and put in the comments some of the parts that you think are the best ways that you've seen somebody MC or introduce somebody before. Please put that in the comments and let's keep going with the rest of this video. Number six is enthusiasm, energy, and be articulate. It's very important to be as well spoken as you possibly can be. In fact, I've seen MCs that are better than the keynote speakers, and that can happen. But it's fascinating when there's energy and enthusiasm from an MC. It can take an event that's naturally boring and turn it into a completely awesome thing. For example, I have a friend named Jeff Savilico, probably the greatest MC in the world. He is a Las Vegas entertainer who has turned himself into the greatest corporate host you can imagine. You see, he engages the audience, he runs around, he does all of his acrobats and things with his juggling, and he's just Mr. Talented Entertainer. But he brings that into an MC position as an introducer. And instead of the fact that he is better than most keynote speakers, what happens is he lifts the entire event. So because he's so good, that speaker has to up their game. And it works every time. Look up jeffsavilico.com to learn more about one of my best friends, best entertainer and MC you'll ever see. So number 7, if you have a personal experience or story with the speaker that's coming on stage, this is the creme de la creme of being an awesome introducer. The reason being is that you can not only talk about the intro and the bio and the pieces you know, but if you have a personal experience with that speaker and you can share it in an articulate and a comforting way. If you can talk about how much this person means to you, it's going to mean that much more to the audience, and the speaker will be blown away. I remember getting to introduce a man named Les Brown. If you haven't heard of Les Brown, one of the great iconic motivational speakers of all time, you need to look him up. But when I introduced Les Brown, I talked about how his speech changed my life when I heard him for the first time. I wept as he spoke because I was laughing so hard I was crying, and crying so hard I was laughing. Les Brown's that kind of speaker. I shared that story before he came on stage. He came to stage and he was already crying. He put his arms around me and hugged me and he said, "That was the best introduction I've ever received." Maybe he says that every time to everybody, but for me it was an iconic moment in my life to have a hero that I had an experience with, and I got to share that story. So always share the personal story if you can about the speaker you're introducing. I promised you I'd tell you a couple of times where I made a mistake. As the introducer, this is where number 8 comes in. Do not make it about you. Now, I just told you that you should share a story that combines the two. I tried to do this, but unfortunately, with another speaker, I made it about me. You see, I'm going to give you some names, and it might be surprising for me to say this. But there was a gal named Elizabeth Smart who years ago was kidnapped. She was eventually found. It was a wonderful story and a miracle. And she became a keynote speaker. Now she runs a foundation and she is so powerful and successful. It's an incredible story. One time I had the chance to introduce her. I had been the MC of that event multiple years in a row, but I made the introduction about something that happened to me in relation to my experience with Elizabeth Smart. It didn't go well. I've never been invited back to that company. Never make it about you. Make it about the speaker. Number 9. Oh, this one is painful for me to reveal, but you need to discuss with the speaker how you're going to introduce them, yes, but also the handoff and what you're going to do if you're going to do something funny or interesting before you bring them on. Both my bad experiences I'm about to share are with Shark Tank judges. Yeah, the actual sharks themselves. So one time, Kevin Harrington, one of the sharks, a great guy. I had not told him that I was going to grab his hand and shake his hand as he came on the stage. There was one little step, and I introduced him, gave him a great applause from the audience, and then I reached down to shake his hand, and I accidentally yanked him up. I didn't know he was going to stay down there. And so he topples and somehow caught himself and came bounding onto the stage, and he goes, "Why would you do that?" He said that in my ear. And I said, "Oh, sorry, man. That was the dumbest thing I could have done, was pull him on stage. I felt so bad about it." Always discuss with the person what you're going to do before you get on stage. Maybe it's a bro hug. Maybe it's passing the microphone. Talk about it before you get out there. The other time I flubbed it up with one of the Shark Tank sharks was Draymond John. I introduced him thinking it would be cool if I did my Michael Jackson impression before he came on. I was going, hee hee, Shimon, bring on Jim and Drone, bring on Dave and John. And you would not believe how upset he was. He came to stage and ripped me for 3 minutes. Now, that's not professional of him to do. It wasn't professional of me to think that I could sing and dance before bringing on a shark. And so always discussing what you're going to do prior is of the essence. I can't believe I'm sharing this with you. The final piece I'm going to give you is number 10, and this is one of the greatest things I could advise you to do when introducing a speaker. You as the MC, you must take control of that audience and inform them what's about to happen and tell them to turn their chairs if they're at tables and rounds. You need to tell them to be quiet. You need to sometimes instruct them how they need to receive a speaker. One time I was introducing somebody at an event, and I gave the nice introduction. It was actually the governor of the state where we were. The governor came to speak, and nobody listened at all. I couldn't believe it, and I thought maybe it's my fault. So when he was done, he left the stage. Barely anybody clapped. It was a great speech. I came back out on stage and I just said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm surprised this is how you would treat your governor. I would appreciate if you would please give your attention to our keynote speaker now who's coming to stage, and I won't let him come out here until your chairs are turned, you're respectful, and you're ready to listen to a speech that's about to change your life, because you just missed the one from your governor. Everybody was shocked that I called them out. They turned their chairs to watch. And then I introduced the keynote speaker. I wish I had done the same for the governor, but it is your responsibility as an MC, as an introducer of other speakers, to take control of the room. Make sure you take control in the best way possible, sometimes through funny, sometimes through stern. I hope that these 10 tips have given you some ideas as to how you can be a great introducer for people coming to stage. My name is Jason Hewlett. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. And I have way more cool videos for you to enjoy. Let's hang out a little bit more. Thanks for joining me here.